You're gonna like this one. It's nice and smooth and silky.
Exactly. Yeah, so today let's see, I don't think I've put it in the chat yet, but I will. Today, the format is the 20 reps, 15 reps, 10 reps, 5 reps. So we're just working our way down. And for you math majors out there, that's 50 reps of everything. Usually we're somewhere around 60. So today you might want to make the weight a little bit heavier if you have that option, or use it as kind of a moving recovery day. So depending on what you've done this week or what you plan to do, if you plan on doing, all the classes this week, we're going to be kind of going, Monday higher intensity, Tuesday lower intensity, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday I'll stay up. So Tuesday, Thursdays have been a little bit more like mobility focused and just kind of a moving, it'll still be a workout for sure, but just kind of a moving recovery, I guess. So if you want to dial it up today, you can use a weight that allows for that. You can try to pack it into about 15 minutes. That would definitely kick it up a notch. So there's lots of different ways you can do it where you're making it more intense, right? So, but either way, we can make this a pretty challenging workout, or you can use it as just a moving recovery day. So, so 20 reps of everything, 15, then 10, then 5. You don't have to go back through it. No, we don't have to go back up. But the movements are a squat jump, a lateral squat. On the lateral squat, we're going to alternate those. So typically during a workout, we'll go all of them to one side. With the lateral squat, you're going to alternate side to side until you've gotten 20 each, 15 each, 10 each, 5 each. Push-up position row. So that's the kind of that plank row where you're in a push-up position, you hold that position, and then row the weight that you have while trying to keep everything steady. All right, so the 20 will be pretty challenging there. SLDL is an SLDL side plank with pullover. We'll talk about that. Actually, I'll talk about that right now. As everybody's rolling out, guys, let's start getting moving here. So the side plank with a pullover, you're going to be, you'll need like I'll probably be using a 5 to 10 pound weight, depending on what's sitting around here. But basically what it is side plank where your hand is in line kind of with your eyes, or with your eyes and your shoulders. So you'll be using a weight and raising it up like this with a totally straight arm. So we raise up like that. And so that will be, it's more challenging than you would think it is, as long as you keep your hand up in like eye level. So again, holding the plank solid there and just making sure that that when you're moving your arm that your plank isn't moving. Last thing we're going to do is a glute bridge on the floor. So you lay on the floor, press your hips up, and then we're doing a floor press from there. So it's a bench press, but you're lying on the floor. Okay. So let's get into a warm up here. Continue rolling. Let's make sure we get a good roll on our hips. So sitting on top of the roller, cross that ankle over your knee, and then you're going to tilt onto the side that is crossed up. As you're doing this, you're just looking for places that are sore or that you feel like need a little extra attention. If you find one of those places and I'm moving on, feel free to hang out there and get what you need out of it. All right, let's stay on the same side that you have crossed up here. We're going to roll to that side and roll the spot right in between your hip bone and the crest of your hip. So kind of right where the opening of your pocket would be. Just rolling that little spot, and you'll roll all the way over to the front. And then rolling that same kind of 4-inch area all the way across your back and over to the other side. So we're rolling that spot right where the opening of your pocket would be, right in between the crest of your hip and your hip bone. And roll all the way over to the front. And good. All right. So let's take the roller, put it right underneath your shoulder blades. And we're rolling back and forth here. Let's take arms and open them up. Or reach over your head just so you're getting a little bit of a chest stretch here with it. Rolling back and forth. All right, go ahead and let your hips relax on the floor. The roller is going to be underneath your shoulder blade. We're going to raise our right arm. So raise your right arm up over your head, and then roll to your right side. And we're just rolling your lat or the muscle that's on the back outside of your ribs. You can either roll back and forth on that, using like the roller the way the roller usually goes, or you can roll, just move your body while the roller stays still. I kind of prefer that just because then you don't have to put your whole body weight on that. And let's switch to the other side. Raise your left arm up, tilting to the side. How's everybody doing up there? Again, on the back outside of your ribs here, you should feel like you're rolling muscle under there, not like you're just rolling over your ribs. If you feel like you're rolling over your ribs, you got to find some tissue there. All right, good. Let's move the roller off to the side. Laying on your back, we're just going to point both feet up at the ceiling. Make your belly strong. So you may be pushing down with your lower back. You may be pushing down into the floor. You may keep just a tiny bit of an arch there, but wherever you are, just make sure you keep your low back there as you drop your heel. So the biggest concentration here is maintaining that neutral spine, or really consistent position with your low back as we go through here. So we're going to do 10 times, dropping that heel down towards the floor. Think about keeping your core, everything through the middle, stronger than you think it needs to be, so overly strong. Your low back's going to maintain the same position through this whole thing. Once you're done there, you're going to give one knee a hug, put the other heel on the ground, push your hips up in the air. You're going to do a glute bridge 10 times each side. Good, just making sure that you're keeping your thigh close to your chest so that we're not overextending or arching your back to push up towards the ceiling. It's not important how high you get with your hips. It's more important that you're using your real hip range of motion and not substituting some low back arching to get up there higher. Again, we're doing 10 each side. Okay. Once you're done there, come on up to all fours. So we're going to be on all fours. Let's bring one knee up and across for a pigeon stretch. So we're stretching the outside of your hip here. If you need more stretch in the outside of your hip, you can take your foot and move it forward so that your shin is more parallel or perpendicular across the front of you. We don't have the timer out this morning because this isn't a timed circuit. We're just doing reps. Again, 20, 15, 10, and 5. I'll repost it in the chat just in case anybody's jumping on late. So no timer today, but if you want to keep your own time, feel free to do that. Let's go ahead and switch sides. Again, feeling that stretch in the outside of your hip. And good. So back to all fours, you're going to sit your butt back towards your heels. So you're kind of, you've got your butt on your heels. And then one hand, you can do one of two things. You can either put your hand on your rib cage, so hand on the opposite side rib cage, and we're just working on rotating up, thinking about stacking those shoulders on top of each other. And we return to kind of check your shoulder down to the ground. Or we can put your hand up behind your head. As long as you're not pulling your head down and forward, okay, this is okay. I guess this is what I prefer, because then you keep that nice long spine, your hand comes behind your head, opening up, trying to point that elbow up at the ceiling, and we close. So let's open and close 8 times on each side. If you have your hand behind your head, especially, check in about halfway through, just make sure you're not starting to pull that head down towards the floor. Again, you should kind of think of having a double chin, pushing your chest as far away from the floor as you can. Then that hand comes up behind your head. You're using your eyes and your elbow to point up at the ceiling. All right, so let's do some hip rocking here. So you're gonna just maybe spread your knees and feet a little bit farther apart. Shins should still be parallel with each other, right? So don't let your knees go wide and your feet stay narrow. All right, so shins should be parallel to each other. We're just all fours, rocking forward and backward. Let's push at the front. Let's push your hips all the way forward like you're gonna do a push-up from your knees. And then we sit back as far as you can. As you sit back, don't let your tailbone round over. Right, so it shouldn't be like, you know, if a dog tucks their tail between their legs, you shouldn't be tucking your tailbone down between your legs. You should be kind of keeping it pushed up towards the ceiling. And good. Okay, so let's go up. Go ahead and stand up. You're going to grab a weight. It may not be your workout weight, but it's just going to be a weight. We are going to do we're going to do 3 actually, 20-second goblet squats. So we're going to take 10 seconds to go down, and then we're going to go 10 seconds to come right back up, and we're going to go 10 seconds down into the next one. So for warm up, you can hold the weight here if you want. Okay, again, we're just feeling that nice solid squat form going down and back up, or I'm going to hold here because this helps me balance in the bottom. Okay, so let's take 20 seconds to get to the bottom, or sorry, 10 seconds to get to the bottom of this goblet squat, and then 10 seconds to come back up. The whole goal is that we start to feel a team effort here, right? Not one thing should be screaming. You should hear, or you should feel like your whole body's working together here. All right, so let's go for 10 seconds down. Ready, set, go. So as you go down, you're pushing your hips back, keeping a little bit of extension with that low back, pressing knees apart, and up, nice and slow. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And back down. 2, 3, 4, 5. And up. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And one more time down. Again, feeling that nice solid team effort. No one part of your body should be taking up the slack here. You should have the weight hug nice and tight to your chest. Up, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 10. Good. Let's drop the weight down. We're going to do the same exact thing with a deadlift. Okay, so here the weight's going to be hanging right in between your legs. As you go, you're pushing your hips backwards. And that's going to allow that weight to pass right in between your knees, straight down to the floor. Tap either to something that's elevated or like a yoga block or a couch cushion or something like that, and then coming right back up. Whatever you're tapping to should be between your shoelaces, okay? So we're gonna do, again, 3 of those, 20 seconds, 10 seconds down, 10 seconds up. Making sure that the very first movement for you is pushing your hips back, right? You'll notice the difference between lowering the weight, then I end up out here in front of my knees, and just pushing your hips back. It brings that weight right in between my knees, okay? All right, so we're gonna do 10 seconds down, 10 seconds up, 3 times. Ready? And here we go. Think about spreading that floor apart with your feet, keeping your tailbone up towards the sky, and come on up. Using that lever, using the back of your legs to pull down. Use this, go down, 2, 3, 4, 5. Use this as an opportunity to really check your form. Tap and come on up. Again, you're not standing up with your back, you're with your upper back. You're pulling down with the back of your legs. So right now you should be feeling this down the back of your legs and down. 4, 5, 6, 7. Use it as a little stretch at the bottom, maybe a hamstring stretch. Come on up. And relax, good. Okay. All right, so we should be good to go here. Let me repost the workout just in case it didn't come up in the chat for some of you. So the time is on you, right? So we'll be going as usual at somewhat of a medium pace. If you need a little bit more time, take more time. If you feel like going ahead of us, go ahead and move ahead. But we're working 20, 15, 10, 5. And anytime you have 2 sides, like with the lateral squat, it's 20 each, 15 each, 10 each, okay, and so on. So just make sure we're getting all the work done there. Okay, so the very first thing is squat jump. We're gonna squat down using those arms to spring up. Okay, this can be anywhere from heels just leaving the ground to a full jump. All right, so we've got 20 of those to start. And then we get into the lateral squat, which we'll teach as we get there, okay? All right, so let's get started here with 20 squat jumps. Ready? And here we go.
Jumps.
Yeah, that was a lot. All right, so for lateral squat, we'll be holding weight. Feet will go way out to the side. We're gonna squat down to one side, so we bend one leg, keep the other one totally straight. Pushing that whole foot down through the floor. And then remember, today we're gonna alternate. Making sure here your heels are staying down on the floor. Both toes should be facing forward. Your feet should be wide enough so that your feet are still outside your hips as you squat down. And if they're too narrow, you'll know because you'll kind of end up with your hip pocket outside of your foot. use this as a little bit of mobility. And we're definitely working on hip strength and mobility here. Should have nice even pressure through the foot that you're squatting with, meaning you're not just pushing with your toes and you're not just pushing with your heel. Okay, plank rows are next. So I'm going to elevate my hand. One hand will be rooted to the floor. The other hand will be doing a row. You can also do these on like the edge of the couch. Put one hand on the edge of the couch and row with the other side. Biggest challenge here is keeping things level and square. So I'm going to do the best I can here, even though the kettlebell will kind of force me to turn sideways a little bit. But we want to make sure that we're not tilted way off to the side. So we're here. Take a break in between as you switch the sides. So yeah, if you have a kettlebell for this, it's going to hang down quite a bit. So it may be better to use a dumbbell. If you don't have a weight, that's totally fine. You'll still get a lot out of just doing the rowing motion. It's essentially a 3-point plank. So if you need to modify those two, like I said, you can put your hand on the front of the couch. You can put your hand on the back of the couch, which would be higher, obviously. The higher you go with that push-up position, the easier it'll be. Okay, so you can modify that as needed. All right, SLDLs next. So we're just holding the weight in one hand. Go until you get a hamstring stretch. We're coming back up. The goal here would be, if you can, to get all 20 without tapping that other foot to the ground. But check your balance when you need to. Making sure you got your foot spread nice and wide on the floor. Nice wide base. Hamstring and hip should be doing the work here. If you're feeling this in your low back, make the range of motion smaller. So your hand may have to stop above your knee. If you're tightening up in your back, that means you're bending or rounding with your back and not using your hip. So you need to make sure that we're getting a hip range of motion, not a low back range of motion. So side plank pullover. You're gonna be on your side. So we're doing a side plank. You can modify as you need to. So if that's straight body, that's good. You can also modify to knees bent, and stacking those knees up on top of each other. Okay, but if you're doing a full side plank, we got one, your top foot's gonna be in front, elbows right underneath your armpit. From here, you have a totally straight arm, raising it up and down. The goal would be to not let the weight affect your side plank. Check in, make sure that weight isn't floating to the front of your chest. You want it to stay right in line with your eyeballs. Make sure we're getting each side here. Remember that weight's gonna stay up in front of your eyeballs. So if you think about it, when you tap the weight to the floor, always tap on the top side or on the head side of your arm that's on the ground. So instead of tapping, closer to your waistband or your chest, you're gonna tap that weight out in front. This is one you don't have to use weight for. You probably feel or notice it even without weight. Ankle on the floor.
I'm just going to put him tight.
Okay, so glute bridge with the floor press is next. Last one here, 20 reps. So you're going to push your hips up and hold. So whatever weight you have. If you don't have a weight that you like for this, you can also do push-ups, no big deal there. But we're pushing hips up. So we push up and hold, checking in, making sure you're not arching up. And then we press from here. Let your hips relax while you switch the weight. Take a break if needed, or working to the other side. Obviously here it depends on the weight you're using, how challenging this is. So if you have the opportunity to dial your weight up or down, go ahead and do that. Okay. So the nice thing about this format is that right now the hardest part is done and we're working our way down. So the next time through, we're doing 15 reps of everything. We're gonna keep going here at a medium speed. So if you wanna go ahead, go ahead. If you wanna stay, take your time with stuff, feel free to take your time. Right now we're about 10 minutes in. Should get shorter from here. All right? All right, 15 squat jumps, here we go. Lateral squats are next. Remember, as we go through here, you don't have to use the same weight that you used the first time through. Push up in rows after the lateral squat. Sorry, push up position row. If you think about it as you go through here, try to stay in tune with the work that you're doing and see if you can alternate the side that you start on. So with this one, try to start with the opposite side that you started with last time. SLDL is after the row. Making sure however far your chest drops down, your back leg should be going that high. So don't let your back leg lag behind. Pretend like someone's lifting up your back knee and tilting you over. To modify the side plank if needed, again, you can bend your knees and just go from your knees to shorten up that lever. You could also, again, do it from an elevated surface. So put your elbow on the couch or on a stair or whatever. The more you elevate yourself, the easier that side plank will be. I think it's probably easiest just to go from knees though, would be the next best thing. And if you're in between knees and feet, it's actually kind of, if you put the top leg out forward, it's actually a pretty good measure in between. Remember, with the glute bridge and the floor press, make sure that you're staying square through the middle. Your glute bridge should be right down the middle, even though you're pressing on one side. Sounds so crunchy.
I'm waiting on you, Zilpa.
Yes, yeah. All right. Cool. Working into the 10s here. So we're back through. Again, we're getting shorter and shorter each time here. We're at about 20 minutes right now. Good. All right. Ready? Go. Lucy Christie. All right. Good group this morning, guys. Nice to see everybody. Even the people I can't see. I'm starting to wonder if you guys that have your cameras turned off, just like give your kids your login stuff and say, hey, go log in for me. That's not true. I know you guys are there. Ah, I knew it. I figured I'd get you to pop up there, Lucy. There we go. All right. Nice to see you guys. So obviously these go faster and faster as you go. Pretty soon you're done. For anybody who's counting, we are workout number 32. So that means we are 5 weeks and 2 days into these workouts. Cool thing is, we're starting to see some light at the end of the tunnel. People are starting to talk about return to theaters, gyms, all of that. So yesterday, pretty exciting. We had our staff meeting to solidify the schedule for when we get the green light to go back. We're going to be taking steps to, keep the crowd small, keep everybody spread out, keep equipment use to a minimum so that we don't have as much to wipe down and take care of in that way. So it was really exciting to sit with the staff and get those plans together. So we're ready. We're super excited. This has been great. Morning workouts. I'm in better shape than I was before, that's for sure. So is Kelly. But yeah, so exciting. The light is at the end of the tunnel here. Plans are in place. What are you on?
5.
5, okay. I'm ready when you are. You do all the 5s. All right, we're starting on our 5s here. Very good.
Right?
Yep.
Hard time. As you work your way into the final ones here, take the opportunity to make these 5 the best 5 that you've done all day for all the exercises. Nice and solid on the plank, nice and low in the lateral squat. All right, just checking in with everybody here. Lucy, you all done? Good job. How's everybody else doing?
Maybe I see looks like you're wrapping up.
Yeah.
Rhonda, nice to see you. Good morning. Okay. Looks like that's a day, guys. Great job. Again, tomorrow we'll dial it up a little bit. Maybe you dial it up today, who knows? But yeah, keep up the great work. This has been awesome. We're keeping attendance. Ted, I think you are leading the pack here in terms of this group. So, but you guys are doing an awesome job and very, very close to those t-shirts already. So keep up the great work and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Right. Bye, Brian.
See ya. Bye, David.